Russia, a land of extremes, of frozen winters and fiery ambitions. Throughout its vast and stormy history, 10 emperors stood above the rest, shaping the destiny of the world's largest nation. These are the 10 greatest emperors in Russian history. Alexander I, 1801 to 1825, the Tsar who humbled Napoleon. He rose to power in the shadow of his father's murder and carried the burden of empire into one of history's most pivotal wars. Alexander I, young and idealistic, faced Napoleon's Grand Army in 1812. After the burning of Moscow, he refused to surrender, and so the Russians fought on, pushing the French back in a brutal winter campaign that broke the invincible. Alexander rode triumphantly into Paris, hailed as the liberator of Europe, a philosopher king with secrets buried in guilt and mystery. Ivan IV, the Terrible, 1547 to 1584. The Tsar who created terror. Crowned as the first Tsar of all Russia, Ivan began as a reformer. He modernized the army, created a parliament, and conquered vast territories in Siberia and the east. But something broke inside him. He unleashed the Oprichnina, a brutal secret police that executed anyone suspected of disloyalty. He slaughtered entire cities, killed his own son in a fit of rage. And yet his rule unified Russia and declared its power to the world, a tyrant and a founder. Catherine the Great, 1762 to 1796, the enlightened empress. She wasn't born Russian, but she became its greatest empress. Catherine II overthrew her weak husband and ruled for 34 years. She expanded the empire to the Black Sea, annexed Crimea, and divided Poland. A patron of art, science, and philosophy, she corresponded with Voltaire and Diderot. She dreamed of reform, flirted with revolution, but ruled with an iron will. Russia became larger, richer, and more respected under her crown. Alexander II, 1855 to 1881, the liberator Tsar. After the defeat in the Crimean War, Russia needed reform, and Alexander delivered. In 1861, he freed the serfs, giving 20 million people a taste of freedom. He modernized the courts, the military, and the infrastructure. But the reforms didn't go far enough for radicals and went too far for conservatives. In 1881, he was assassinated by a bomb just before signing a constitution. He died bleeding in the snow, a martyr of modernization. Nicholas I, 1825 to 1855, the Iron Autocrat. Where others saw change, he saw danger. Nicholas I ruled with absolutist zeal. He crushed the Decembrist revolt, censored thought, and built a police state. But he also expanded the empire into Central Asia and built the foundations of Russian railways and military might. His refusal to adapt, however, led to the humiliation of the Crimean War. Nicholas died before its end, defeated by time more than war. Paul I, 1796 to 1801, the Tsar of Paranoia. Brilliant and unpredictable, Paul I sought to undo everything his mother Catherine had created. He admired chivalry, restored orders of knights, and idolized Prussia, but his erratic policies and paranoia isolated him from his court. He reversed succession laws, micromanaged the army, and alienated the elite. In 1701, his own officers assassinated him, a troubled soul who left behind a very different Russia. Nicholas II, 1894 to 1917, the last emperor. He never wanted to be emperor, but fate gave him the crown. Nicholas II was kind, gentle, and tragically unfit to rule. Under his reign came the disastrous Russo-Japanese War, the 1905 Revolution, and World War I. Corruption, hunger, and the mystic Rasputin shattered the empire's credibility. In 1917, the monarchy collapsed. A year later, Nicholas and his family were executed in a basement in Yekaterinburg, The Romanov dynasty ended in blood. Michael I, 1613 to 1645. The founder of the Romanovs' Russia was in chaos. Civil war, famine, and foreign occupation had shattered the nation. Then came a teenager, chosen not by conquest, but by consensus. Michael Romanov was just 16 when he became Tsar, marking the end of the time of troubles and the birth of the Romanov dynasty. He restored stability, repelled Polish invaders, and rebuilt the shattered state. His reign wasn't glorious, but it was vital. He planted the roots of 300 years of Romanov rule. Fyodor III, 1676 to 1682, the forgotten reformer. Often overlooked, Fyodor III ruled only 6 years, but began reforms that would inspire Peter the Great. He abolished the archaic Mesnichestvo system, ending hereditary privilege in government appointments. He promoted education in Western science, even while crippled by disease. Though weak in body, he was sharp in mind. Had he lived longer, he might have rivaled Peter himself. Peter the Great, 1682 to 1725, the empire builder. He towered over his enemies, literally and politically. Peter I, known as Peter the Great, dragged Russia into modernity. He built a navy from scratch, reformed the military, and crushed the Swedes in the Great Northern War. He founded St. Petersburg, his window to the west, and forced the boyars to shave their beards and embrace progress. Russia under Peter became a European power. He was feared, loved, and unstoppable. The man who made Russia an empire and became its legend. They ruled through chaos and conquest, through reform and repression. Each left a mark on the empire and on history. These were the 10 greatest emperors of Russia, and the story of their rise is the story of Russia itself.